From Wall Street to Main Street, this is Lalate.
It's a big evening of Evenings LA with a special 1-hour broadcast about your breaking financial news and your fourth stimulus check update of 2022. Direct from Santa Monica, California tonight with all the major breaking developing details that impact your wallet across the board. We're going to go right into it tonight. Overnight, the President of the United States addressed the American people about the Build Back Better Act in the big State of the Union address. He mentioned checks and he mentioned the Build Back Better. That is going to get done. A lot more was said than I even predicted. We'll go over the incredible allegiance to the Build Back Better by the President of the United States in tonight's recording. That'll pay you at least $15,000 to $60,000 of checks. They're going out, says the President of the United States in his State of the Union address overnight. Then we'll be looking at CR for stimulus right around the horizon. The opportunity to get a $2,000 check before even Build Back Better. The President gave a bid to CR for stimulus last night. I'll go over his comments tonight as well. Then we'll be looking at the situation unfolding that was very fluid going in tonight. We were looking at the situation of where we're looking at interest rates landing. Federal Reserve Jay Powell testifying on Capitol Hill today, signaling where inflation could go, and you have great news tonight in this recording. It impacts your wallet for SSI, SSDI, Social Security, and railroad benefits. It's the SS300 analysis in tonight's recording. Then we'll be looking back over to the situation in Ukraine as the situation is unfolding by the minute, and oil and gas prices surging in the United States. The situation tonight very fluid across the land. You're looking at the gorgeous town right now of Kherson, which Ukraine is denying that Russia has now taken. Russia and some independent sources say it may have been fallen as the first country in Ukraine to fall overnight. Well, the latest details tonight. Plus, we'll be looking at the refugee situation with nearly 1 million refugees now in Poland and Romania, and nearly 2,000 civilians in Ukraine now confirmed dead from the invasion. I'll have the latest details tonight across the board. Plus, we'll be looking at the oil and gas situation as oil prices surge overnight to numbers we've never seen in the history of this channel, and substantially larger than even the night before because of the Russian invasion. What the president is doing for that situation, we'll go over that as well. But we'll also get you big sums of money. It's late in this video. And stay to the very end because viewers got thousands of dollars overnight. Did you get it? Stay to the very end. We have a lot of money to cover and a lot of finances to cover. We're going to go over the latest details about Build Back Better Act, address of the State of the Union address last night. Great news. CR for stimulus 1.0, 2.0, 3.0. The ability to raise your benefits up $300 for SS300. The price of Brent crude and why stabilizing the U.S. energy situation for gasoline prices needs to be done right away, and what the president's doing tonight and what the price of crude did today. And the great comments that came from Jay Powell to stabilize inflation, but not negate the impact of SS300. Plus, we'll be looking at the situation on the ground in Ukraine. I support Ukraine, and you should as well. It's a very fluid breaking news report, and it's all happening right now. The latest breaking news on the #1 most watched financial news broadcast in prime time. I'm excited for you to be part of tonight's show. We have a lot of breaking news, and the excitement starts direct from Santa Monica, California, starting tonight with our thoughts and prayers with the families in Kherson, the beautiful port city of the Black Sea in Ukraine. Good evening, everybody. This is LA. Broadcasting direct from Santa Monica, California. We're looking at another gorgeous town along water called Kherson, and it is in the Black Sea town in Ukraine. And tonight, it's a very fluid situation. We do not know if it is following Russian forces. Ukraine has denied that it's following Russian forces. Some independent sources say it may have following latest details tonight is 2,000 fatalities now confirmed in the battle of Ukrainian citizens. And nearly 870,000 refugees are now in Poland and in Romania tonight. All the latest details of that and what's going on with Vladimir. Let's start with your money back in the United States. The president, American people overnight, in the State of the Union address, and he said he wasn't even mentioned Build Back Better. I say he wasn't even mentioned as the purpose of the State of the Union address. He said he wasn't even going to mention any programs in Build Back Better, or let alone even mention anything beyond simply pass my economic policy. Well, I was wrong. He actually name-checked Build Back Better. I'll go over his incredible comments, his mention of stimulus, his mention of the incredible provisions he wants to give you and that he's going to give you. And I'm going to go over also the comments that his fellow Democrats said afterwards to give him even further clarity across the board. Let's go over Build Back Better first to start. It's the first stimulus recall, and it was featured last night, despite I thought that it wasn't going to be mentioned in the State of the Union address. Those incredible checks in there amount to at least $15,000 to $60,000, and I'm going to go over each of those checks first. Then I'll go over the president's comments, and then we're going to go over the add-on checks thereafter, and also the CR for stimulus. All right, the great news tonight is that Build Back Better Act is going to be passed. President couldn't stop mentioning it last night during the State of the Union address. Has anywhere from $15,000 to $60,000 of checks across 3 clusters of checks and 3 add-ons. I'm going to go over each of those clusters right now. I'll mention when the president brought up a particular program, and then I'll go over the comments that he had for those programs later thereafter. All right, in that first cluster of checks is hazard pay and $4,000 elder care. Last night, he mentioned hazard pay, and hazard pay is incredible. And what is in that first cluster of checks? That first cluster of checks with that hazard pay has $1,700 a week if you make $70,000 more per year. $35,000 annual salary, got it in there. And also got in there the incredible money for the $3,600 for the young children. The home repairs if you live in a low-income community, and the Pell Grant, the $12,500 for the purchase of a new electric vehicle. Wow. Now, there are several add-on checks to Build Back Better, and those are staying in there because everything that's in the House, the president told the Senate last night to pass. And the first add-on of checks comes from here in Southern California, comes from Maxine Waters, and it's huge. It is that $25,000, just a little bit less, for the purchase of your first home. Yeah, can you imagine? This is money given from the federal government to the seller in your name at the time of escrow to buy your first home. You're looking at the beautiful shores here of Southern California, where Maxine Waters is located, and she got that provision in there. That is our pier here in Santa Monica, California. That is the first of 3 add-on checks got in there and staying in there. And everything is going to get passed, said Joe Biden overnight in that State of the Union address. Now, what is in the second cluster of checks? And is happening across the board. The second cluster of checks grows even bigger. And we have in that second cluster the home repairs for weatherizing your home, and also the big money for paid leave. Paid leave got in there as well. Now, when we look at the third cluster of checks, we get into other money. But first, let's look at that add-on. That second add-on is $250 billion of free home health care for seniors and people on disabilities, mentioned by the President of the United States also last night during the State of the Union address. Because this is a resonating subject that millions of Americans who are seniors and people on disabilities need that home health care. This is a very simple concept to say during the State of the Union address where he doesn't have a lot of time to detail provisions, has to get to the point, and this resonated really well. Now, let's look at the third cluster checks and the incredible money that's in there, and whether the president name-checked any of those as well last night as well. Seniors and free internet. Well, he didn't mention free internet, but he certainly mentioned free seniors. It's free internet for all got in there. You already have it under second stimulus needed right now. Reach out to the volunteers on the community page of this channel. But he also talked about the seniors extensively. He talked about cheaper prescription medication. He talked about the provisions that are on the House and the ones that would come from the Senate. Now, this is huge because he's basically saying, Senate, make it even better. House got in there dental, the House got in there Medicaid gap fix, and hearing. But he certainly said to the Senate, do a little bit more. And that, of course, is dental, vision, and lowering the eligibility age of Medicare from 65 to 55. And what else does the Senate want to do more? Whatever Joe Biden wants them to do, they can do. And last night he said, do more. And what else more? MSC. Legislators have represented to the viewership of this channel since May of last year. They're going to do more with that monthly IRS stimulus check. And that monthly IRS stimulus check is the same eligibility as a third, says the legislators to the viewership of the channel. What is an MSE? It's a monthly IRS stimulus check sent out in addition to the already $15,000 to $60,000 of checks in the forced stimulus recon pushed over and over last night during the State of the Union address. These are extra checks. During the State of the Union address, the purpose of the president is not to tell you when a check is coming, what day it's coming, the amount of the check, or who's mailing it, or the tracking information. His program during the State of the Union address is just to address the condition of the country as a whole. But he went further than that, folks. He actually mentioned programs in that address last night. This is among the programs that he has said he wants in there, and the legislators say they want it in there. So how much does it pay, and when does it pay, and who's eligible? Let's go over the details right now. Third stimulus paid out a certain eligibility. Fourth stimulus would do the same, says the legislators. Single individuals, $75,000 less, you get it. Married couple, $150,000 less, you get it. Family of four, quadruple, you get it. And if you're on benefits, SSI, SSDI, Social Security or railroad benefits, you get it as well. It's not income. It ain't taxable. It's offered nationwide. And if you think it's just California stimulus, no, we get a surfboard instead. It is offered based upon the most recent tax return. So if that tax return had a direct deposit account, that's how you get paid. Otherwise, in the mail. And for that one viewer says, my fiance says you have to pay it back. No. But look at the return policy and engagement ring. I think you're still within the 30-day window. There you go. That is MSE. How much? $2,000 a month, $1,000 thereafter for up to 6 months. All at the discretion of what the Congress wants to do because they're in charge of legislation. The president is not the legislator. He's the executive branch. He just encourages what other branches are to do. And he encouraged them last night. Pass my forced stimulus recon and everything you want to put in there. And they said they're putting in MSE. Wow. You can't get it any better news than that. I did not even expect anything like that when I tuned in last night. I didn't even think I was going to hear the words Build Back Better or the allegiance that we heard last night. Now, MSC and all these incredible checks of Build Back Better take a certain time horizon. And with that time horizon, we've been patient. But is there an opportunity to get a check sooner? And where is that opportunity? And what is it called? We're going to go over those details starting right now. That earlier opportunity is called CR4 Stimulus, an acronym created by me on this channel in 2020 that made U.S. history. And guess what? Joe Biden gave a jab at it last night. Did you catch it? I'll go over the details for you right now. If you're wondering what my shirt says, it's a beautiful blue heart on the top and the bottom is yellow. I stand with Ukraine. It's a little bit out of frame, but hopefully you can see it. What is CR for stimulus? The concept is inserting a stimulus check into a continuing resolution, which is a different body of legislation than the Build Back Better Act, and is sooner, quicker, and easier. At issue is the allocated funds and the speed at which it can be done. What is a continuing resolution? Continuing resolution is done every 3 to 6 months to fund the federal government. And back in 2020, I came up with the concept on this channel. If you weren't watching then, this is what had happened. We had got to the first stimulus check. The first stimulus check was used up. We needed more money. And so we were told there was a second stimulus package in the works. 11 months of negotiations. Steve Mnuchin, Nancy Pelosi, no deal. I said, can't do this. We got to get a check. So I came up with the idea to insert a check into something else. I found it. A continuing resolution. It's a budget bill. It's small. It's a few hundred pages in length. It has bipartisan support. It has an inherent deadline. It goes quick. Easy, right? So we pushed. I created the idea, if you're on the live chat right now, write the hashtag campaign, inserting the stimulus check in the CR. CR for Stimulus 2020. I created the idea. You, as the Purple Power community, this channel, advocated for it, and the rest was history. Americans got a stimulus check in December 2020 because of my creation of this channel. And that became your $600 December 2020 check. Guess what also happened? What also happened was the second stimulus fell apart. Second stimulus never had a bill, never had a vote, never had any payment across the board. So 5 weeks ago, when we're sitting back wondering what's going on with the negotiations of the current situation, I said, wait a second. Do you want to bring it on back? And viewers said, yes, bring it back. And CR for Stimulus was back on, baby. In 2022's edition, another continuing resolution. And where are we tonight? Tonight, the situation is really good, and yet there was still a jab about it last night by the president. The continuing resolution right now is still teed up for early March, number one. Number two, there's $1.5 trillion of discretionary funds in there. Good. Bipartisan support, yes. The result of negotiations between Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate over the last few weeks, done. And everything's allocated for there. The discretion is at the hands of Joe Biden's cabinet members to determine how to spend the money, so everything is fine across the board. So what remains at issue? After the commercial break, I will go over what remains at issue, but the good news is that Joe Biden gave a little smirk last night. If you didn't catch it, let me tell you what he said. Last week, I had told you that Joe Biden was trying to take some of the CR stimulus money for COVID testing. Last night he said, and we've done a lot of good stuff by setting free home COVID tests. I want some more money. I know you're not going to give it to me, so I'm going to go ask for it another way. That was referring to CR for stimulus. You did not catch that. I had told you last week that he'd asked for some of this money of the discretionary funds for COVID testing, and he was told by Senate, no. We'll give you money, but not from the CR money. That's for something else. And so that's why he gave a little wink about that. It's coming up after the commercial break. The latest details on where CR for stimulus is right now and the opportunity to get a $2,000 stimulus check out to you right away. It's coming up in just a second. Meantime, breaking news from Jay Powell, the head of the Federal Reserve. It is huge. Ever want to hug the guy? Today's the day you want to hug him, because Jay Powell determines where your inflation goes, and how he moves inflation determines how your SS300 goes. You want your benefits tied to inflation by Joe Biden before Jay Powell brings inflation down. And we've been sitting on tippy toes and ice rings, whatever the expression is, in the last few days, waiting to see if Jay Powell is going to give us several major interest rate spikes in 5 meetings of the FOMC in the next 5 months. And if the first one this month was going to be a half basis point. So what did Jay Powell say today? Oh, it is really great news. I have that coming up in just a second. Meantime, the President of the United States having to really dance with a very big problem. And the big problem is, of course, gasoline. Out of control. Numbers surging. Hour after hour, broadcast after broadcast on this channel. The numbers are getting worse by the hour. I'll have the latest details of why the production of gasoline is really now a major issue in the United States, with the Brent crude price surging out of control since evening's LA last night broadcast. You're going to be shocked by the number. It's all the result of Vladimir Putin's active aggression against Ukraine. Meantime, we'll be looking at the efforts by the United States to curb the situation and what it can do to ease the price of gasoline at the pump, because don't matter if you're getting $20,000, $30,000, $50,000 of stimulus checks. If it's taken by the price of gasoline and the economy's destabilized, it's not worth anything. All the latest details about where Brent crude is tonight, it's shocking. And you are going to be shocked, as I was as well. Meantime, we'll be looking back at the situation unfolding overseas and how it impacts your wallet as well. We'll be looking at the situation with Ukraine and Russia, as Ukraine denies that Russia has taken the Black Sea port of Kherson. You're looking at a beautiful town right here. We'll be looking at the situation unfolding and why it could change within the hour. And then we'll look at the fatality situation growing by the minute and the refugee situation. Are Americans, and certainly our Congress, doing enough as refugees mount by the moment and are heading to nearly 1 million in Romania and Poland right now? I'll have the latest details tonight across the board. And then, of course, your money. You want some money? I bet you do. And in the second half of this video, I'm going to show you how viewers are getting thousands of dollars. Have you cleaned up with thousands of dollars today? Well, one viewer, she got $40,000 last year. She got $10,000 last week. And she got another couple $1,000s today. Stay to the very end, because I'm going to show you how you are cashing checks on this channel. It's only on Evenings LA, a 1-hour broadcast, the most watched 1-hour broadcast for financial news in prime time in America tonight. Thank you for making this show such a major hit. The breaking details that impact your wallet coming up in just a second. I'll be back with you in 60 seconds. But first, here's a little bit about the community page that can help you get all these sums of money across the land. Those details and more are coming up in 60 seconds as Evenings Ally continues direct from Santa Monica. If you want money right now, not 5 days from now, and not 5 weeks from now, then reach out to the community page. The volunteers can help you find that money for rent and utilities. That's at news.la.com/community. The community page features a series of volunteers who are viewers like you. They can help you find rent, utilities, SNAP, food benefits, mortgage assistance, and help you with eviction moratorium questions as well. Their Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram individuals reach out to them and indicate the city and state you're from, and they'll get back to you shortly. That's a community page. Volunteers working for you, viewers helping one another. Stay with LA for more. Join Lalate Daily for the excitement of the new Lalate live daily. The excitement starts on mornings Lalate at 9 a.m. Home Lalate returns at 11 a.m. daily. And then afternoons Lalate at 1 p.m. Join us daily as the excitement continues live from Santa Monica on Lalate. And the details continue as Evenings LA continues live from Santa Monica, California, tonight across the board. Overnight, the United States heard the State of the Union address by the President of the United States to address the health of the country. Not a time to tell you when you're getting a check in your hand, but he did a lot more than that. He actually told you that Build Back Better Act will pass and that the incredible checks in there are going to be landing in your wallet. I have his comments in the second half of this video. Then we'll be looking at CR for stimulus, the fastest way to get a check thereafter. What is the latest updates on that tonight? And we'll be looking at the price of Brent crude out of control. What is being done to fix it? And great news from Jay Powell, your head of the Federal Reserve, speaking on Capitol Hill today. His comments impact your benefits if you're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, railroad benefits, and veterans benefits. And what did he say? I have the latest tonight. Then we'll be cutting back to the situation on the ground in Ukraine and Russia. It's a big broadcast, a big financial broadcast. And later in this video, I'm going to show you how to get thousands of dollars today as viewers have gotten it and need it in the time of these economic uncertainties. It's a big evening, and I'm excited you're here. But first, I want you part of the incredible family. Go into this video right now and subscribe. You're watching the number 3 most watched financial news channel in America, but with the number 1 most watched primetime financial news show in prime time. Whoa, we are absolutely killing it, folks. Tell your friends and family to come on over nightly to watch Evenings LA, which you're watching as a 1-hour special broadcast right now, because there's nothing like it on the map. Let's go right into the president's comments from last night and more about that State of the Union address and Build Back Better, and then CR for stimulus. The President of the United States did a lot more than I ever said he was going to do. I said he wasn't even going to mention Build Back for stimulus, checks, anything. He mentioned a lot more than I expected. First, he mentioned that Build Back Better Act will pass. That's just enough. Then he actually name-checked some of the programs. He said that paid leave is among the many programs why you need to pass Build Back Better. And he then said how he's going to pay for it. And finally, he talked about my seniors. He said, we have had great disagreements on this floor. Let's begin with Medicare. Let's negotiate the price of cheaper prescription medication and get it done. Under my plan, nobody earning less than $400,000 will have to pay a new penny in new taxes. And one thing that Americans agree upon is that we need to fix things. We're closing loopholes. Then his Senate Democrats and House Democrats afterwards went into the details, as they should after a State of the Union address, going over more to talk about these programs, like House Ways and Means Committee Chairman Richard Neal, right after the State of the Union address, addressed that paid leave will be passed and that it is among the many millions of checks that will be inserted in this incredible recall. All right, let's go to CR for Stimulus 1.0. CR for Stimulus 1.0, where is it tonight? Inherent deadline is staying there. Early March, $1.5 trillion of discretionary funding staying in there. Bipartisan support, the result in negotiations between Republicans and Democrats, House and Senate. So what's at issue? What's at issue is you want to ensure that they do not use the funds for something else. And of course, last night, Joe Biden was sort of jabbing at that with a smirk of the eye because he's already told, no, you can't use this money, Joe. You can get it from something else. So what do you want to do? As the Purple Power Caucus, the viewership of this channel, the advocacy group of this channel, you want to pick up the phone and advocate because we are at the edge of the finish line on this one, folks. You want to make sure that they take that money and use it wisely. Advocate to them and say, hey, continued resolution, early March, done. Price, done. Negotiations, done. Discretion of the U.S. cabinet members of Joe Biden, done. All that you got to do is make sure you don't spend it on a park or lobster shorts. And then we're good. Allocate some of that money as a $2,000 stimulus check, get it out across the door. That's what you need to do. Pick up the phone and contact the senator's offices, advocate for it. And you should also come in a little bit thicker, saying, hey, the situation right now is that gasoline prices are out of control. There's inflation right now. And our situation is we supported you and Build Back Better for 11 months, but hasn't happened. And I know the president addressed it last night, but we need that relief right now. Get it out across the board and get that check to us right now. We need it. And we need it right now. All right, that's where CR Stimulus is right tonight, 1.0. 2.0 and 3.0, no inherent deadline. So I can't say it's right around the corner, but the alignment is fine. The House Democrats passing it in the House. The Senate Republicans saying they're going to merge it together, but no inherent deadline. Good, but not right in front of us at the moment. It's SS 300 that's right behind CR for Stimulus 1.0, however. And that is the ability to raise your benefits up an additional $200 a month right now, and then another $100 in December, SS 300. The breaking news tonight makes you want to hug someone. Not me, but I appreciate hugs. I appreciate hugs, and Care Bears and bacon. But I want you to hug this guy if you see him. Don't scare him. Just hug him. His name is Jay Powell, and Jay Powell said incredible comments today that really is good for SS 300 and really good for the economy. And I did not expect him to say it this good. What's at issue? Jay Powell is head of the Federal Reserve of the United States. His job is to bring inflation down. You can't have runaway inflation. It's his job to fix it. How does he fix it? I'll go to that in a second. But we also want to have more benefits if we're on SSI, SSDI, Social Security, Railroad benefits. And Joe Biden, when running for president and after winning the presidency, published at joebiden.com as part of his platform as president to raise your benefits up $200 a month. How? By tying your benefits from COLA to inflation. He wants to remove the benchmark from COLA to inflation. Now, inflation's higher now. You know it's high. It's the highest point in which it's been in decades. Is it going to go down? Yes. Today? No. Next month? No. How soon? It depends on Jay Powell. And the concern going into today's recording, was how Jay Powell was going to deal with inflation. Here's the issue. You want inflation down, but you want your benefits to go up. And you want your benefits to go up now. This is very simple. Let me explain to you. Once your benefits go up, let's say they go up tomorrow, they never go down lifetime. So if you get the lift up, there's no road down. You want them to go up before Jay Powell fixes inflation. Pretty simple? Okay. So is Jay Powell smashing inflation with a Gallagher hammer today? No, he's not. Oh boy, this is big news today. So Jay Powell has ways that he can choose to talk. He can say, I haven't made up my mind, I'm a little fluid, I'll think about the situation, or I'm going to leave opportunities available. He didn't do that. He came in as blunt as he could be and said, I'm not going to come in with a Gallagher hammer. I'm going to keep it easy for now. I am shocked. It was absolutely incredible, great news. Here's what Jay Powell has to do. These were his options. These were the situations. Jay Powell's trying to deal with inflation. He deals with it the following way. 5 FOMC meetings of the Federal Reserve in the next 5 months, 1 meeting per month. And interest rates spike every month. Pretty easy, 5 and 5 months. Okay, how high? The average was going to be a quarter basis point before Vladimir Putin's active aggressions against Ukraine. We were looking at 5 interest rate spikes in 5 meetings, a quarter basis points. Then, right before Vladimir Putin started acting wacko, we thought that the economy was too strong, inflation was too big here in America. We may have to see 7 interest rate spikes for Jay Powell, and maybe a half basis point. There were thoughts no less than 2 weeks ago, before Vladimir Putin started, that Jay Powell would say today, FOMC meeting, March, get ready for half basis point. Quarter is too weak. I gotta hit inflation harder. And then yesterday, on the evening's broadcast last night, I said, I think Jay Powell shouldn't do a half basis point. He should do a quarter, but he may not give us clarity. He may not give us clarity on Capitol Hill all this week. Well, I got to hug Jay Powell. If you see him, hug him as well. Give him some bacon. He likes bacon too. Guess what he said? He said, I'm doing quarter. And I'm doing quarter now. I'm doing quarter next month. I'm staying with quarter until it sells down. Are you serious? Shocking? Yeah, it was so shocking, Wall Street surged on the news. Wall Street zoomed up 700 points because no one thought Jay Powell was going to be that blunt and that on point. We thought he was going to be a little bit wishy-washy and keep himself, because he's supposed to give himself some wiggle room. Here are the comments tonight. It's just absolutely incredible, great news, especially if you're on benefits and anyone that's suffering the impact of inflation. We're going to avoid uncertainty as to what we already have in an extraordinarily challenging and uncertain moment. These official comments from Jay Powell today. To the extent that inflation comes in higher in the future, or is more persistently higher than that, we would be prepared to move more aggressively by then, raising the rates more than 25 basis points at a meeting or meetings. Oh boy, that's a lot in that sentence. Let me tell you what he's saying in that sentence. He's basically saying, we got inflation. We're going to do quarter basis points for now, 25 basis points for now. And if it's not enough, we'll do more later, but we think it's fine. And we are not coming in at half. And we may be fine with 25 for a while. This is absolutely incredible, great news. And this is something that no one thought he was going to say. The implications for the U.S. economy are highly uncertain, and we'll be monitoring the situation closely, referring to Ukraine. The near-term effects of the U.S. economy on the invasion of Ukraine and the ongoing war, the sanctions, and the events to come remain highly uncertain. That's obvious. Making appropriate monetary policy in this environment requires a recognition that our economy in the United States evolves in unexpected ways. We need to be nimble in responding to the incoming data and the evolving outlook. I gotta love this guy. Now, that's the type of comment you expect him to say. I gotta be nimble. I gotta pivot. He has to pivot. But I didn't expect him to say, hey, I don't want to freak you out. So don't stop talking about half basis point. That's basically what he said. Stop freaking those analysts that are appearing on broadcast media. They're saying half basis point. Stop freaking people out. I'm not doing half basis point. I'm doing quarter. I love this guy tonight. The implications for the economy are uncertain, and that is where Jay Powell is tonight. He's likely to stay this way for at least the rest of the month. I'll have more of his comments tomorrow on Mornings Lalate. What does this mean for SS300? It means that we are currently at an inflationary number right now, tonight, that is likely where it was in December, a little bit higher, but is not going to go higher and is likely not going to go down either in the next 60 days. So, Joe, make the call. Joe, make the call. I'll give you the phone. I'll get you the prepaid phone. Joe, make the call. You know what it is if you view the channel. Joe Biden, you're listening. I hear you. Hi, Joe. How are you? Great speech last night. Nancy, same hairstyle. Nancy, can you change the style, at least for the State Union address? Joe, make the phone call. Call over to the social administrator head that you replaced from Commissioner Saul and say, hey, it's Joe. How you doing? How are the kids? How's the soccer team? Can you replace COLA with inflation? I promised the American people to raise their benefits up $200 a month, and that was in 2020. We have inflation now. I have gasoline. I'm trying to fix gasoline. That's my job. Jay Powell's job is to fix inflation. But you can just solve one big problem for me. Give people a new benchmark. Inflation, not COLA. Liz Warren came up with the idea. I adopted it during my campaign run for president. I published it on Joe Biden. Everyone's reading it. Elate's telling everyone to read it. Elate's holding me accountable. I got to swap it out because Elate's on top of me every night about this. I got to swap it out. And there was a fifth stimulus recon all last year where the Democrats were trying to get it done. I didn't get it done either. I was dealing with, stamps and energy and climate and Joe Manchin. So get it done. Swap out COLA for inflation. And guess what? It'll help everything. It'll help everything across the board. Millions of Americans will get about $200 more per month right now, 30 days out after you do it. And where inflation's tracking right now, we may be about 4% by December. That'll get another $100. That'll be SS 300. And I don't need an executive order for this. I don't need to write a brief for you. I don't need an act of Congress. I don't have to look at Mitch and his lobster shorts for this. It's very simple. Do it, and this will help so many people. It's that simple, folks. That is the phone call. Joe made the phone call. And I got to really thank the viewership of this channel, the Purple Power community. You are love and heart and soul. You have been so good on social media advocating for so many things, and this one especially. Advocating, Joe, make the phone call. This is a no-brainer, folks. It's not someone else's money. It's not money that's from another resource. It doesn't require hoops and hurdles. And I'm not invading the wheel. He got this from Liz Warren and he put it on his platform. I'm just telling him to make the phone call and do it right now. And that would be a big relief for you across the board. And with Jay Powell now indicating tonight that he's coming in a quarter basis point this month and is staying at a quarter basis point, that means inflation's relatively stable. So you're going to definitely get that $200 pop if it happens this month or next month, maybe even the month after that, because we're still stable at about 7.5% to 8% inflation. We're not coming down based upon Jay Powell's comments right now. We're likely not to come down. I'm not even talking about Putin yet. I'm just talking about supply chain from about 8% inflation right at the moment for a few months. And his governors say much the same as I do. Great news across the board. Now, how about the next subject matter, which is big tonight? And I can't tell you, people often wonder how many times you record a day. A lot. But there's not enough times to record to tell you how often the price of Brent crude is moving. Gasoline is out of control. And I could be on camera with a new show every hour, and I'm not even up to date on how fast it's moving. Can you imagine if you're watching this show tonight, taped at about an hour before it airs, the price of Brent crude has literally gone up. Let's see. Let's look at the numbers. It has gone up literally $15 in about a day, and it's $100 a barrel. It's gone up 15% in about a day. It's out of control. Let me tell you why this is big. Let me tell you why you need to know this. Then I'm going to tell you the analysis. Then I'm going to go over the solution. And then I'll go over the politics of this. If I was going to tell you today that you're getting a $10,000 stimulus check in the mail, and you say, oh, great, when is it coming? Oh, and by the way, your price of gasoline at the pump is going to be $20 a gallon tomorrow. Suddenly your stimulus check is worth nothing. Over the last year, I've tried to give financial stability to viewers of this channel, financial independence and everything, and I can't give it if gasoline is out of control, because this is what happens. And I don't want to scare you, but I got to give you reality. Gasoline prices out of control destabilizes the economy. Destabilize the economy is a simple, fancy word to say we implode. We can have rapid unemployment, stagflation, recession, and very bad economic times upon us. And if we keep it stable here, but a neighboring country we do business with, let's say France or Canada or England, they get destabilized, we have big problems as well. That is the situation and why you have to have a stable price of gasoline. What is the price of gasoline called? Brent crude. Yeah, he's crude and his name is Brent. That is the price of gasoline. And if you've seen the coverage of Brent crude on this channel in the last 4 days, we're in almost into the second week of the active aggression by Vladimir Putin, the number has zoomed out of control. Let me give you the number tonight. Let me tell you why it's going there and what are the options at hand. The situation tonight is very fluid across the board. The price for Brent crude throughout today was trending between 106 and 113 in the United States. By afternoon's L8, it was about 107, so it was on the low end. But by morning's L8 earlier today, it was about 113. How fast this has gone up because of Vladimir Putin's active aggressions. It was initially at 100 before the first day of Vladimir Putin's aggression. Then, when Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine on day one, it shot up to about 105. The United States then released the petroleum reserves, brought it down to 94. Didn't last very long because our supply chain is not as robust. Then it shot up to about 100 over the weekend, as covered on this channel. By Monday, it was about 101. By Tuesday and Wednesday, it was about then 105. By today, because Vladimir Putin's acts of aggressions are far from over, it had shot up to 106 to 113. So you see what's happened in just a few days, folks, is we were on the weekend at 101, think that we could curb it by releasing some strategic reserves, and with the Vladimir Putin's active aggressions, we shot to 113. We've gone up $13 on a barrel of gasoline. What is good and what is bad as a number? Anything over $100 is bad. Anything over $100 is bad. The analysts all believe that as an economy, we can support $100 a barrel for 6 months if inflation doesn't go higher. Well, the second part of the sentence is easy. Jay Powell has that taken care of. Inflation is not going higher from where we are. That's good. So the first part of the sentence is the part we have to deal with. Can we stay at $100 a barrel for the next 6 months? We haven't stayed at $100 a barrel for one recording on this channel this week. It's troubling. 105 yesterday, 113 today, the weekend 100. I mean, we've gone up $13 in 2 days of recordings of this channel. So why is this happening? Let me explain the situation and how you fix it. And this is important stuff that you need to know, because it don't matter how much money I can get you later in this recording, so stay at the very end, I'm getting you a lot of money. It could be eaten up by runaway gasoline prices and all the business I saved from EIDL last year. This could be a very bad situation, very unfolding very quickly. Let me tell you the numbers and why they move how they move. The way that gasoline works is that the more gasoline that's available, the cheaper it is. The less gasoline that is available, the more expensive it is. Okay, pretty simple concept. So if we have 20 barrels available, we pay less than if there is $10 barrels available. All right, why is the Vladimir Putin part of the equation so important? Because Russia is a major exporter of oil. It is not the number one. People think it's much more important than it is. It is not. That's a fallacy. Where oil is produced is either imported or produced domestically. We produce oil domestically, and we also import oil. Other countries are not so fortunate. This is part of the analysis that I need to go over with you right now, because this is huge. This brings us into what Joe Biden can do and what he can't do, and why there needs to be a solution right now, because we're far away from any solution, and why the modern and progressive Democrats had comments last night, as I expected, and Joe Biden actually did something really, really great last night. I wanted to hug him on this one as well. Gasoline is either produced domestically, if you can, if you have the oil land, or it's imported. In the United States, we produce gasoline in West Texas, among other places. How much gasoline do we produce? Based upon political issues and also economic issues. Other countries, like Italy, produce more olive oil than Brent oil, than crude oil. And so they have to import. Where do they import? From Russia. So what if Russia's oil is not available, as it's now not available? Sanctions have now taken Russian oil out of the equation. Where can Italy and countries like that get oil from? That was the first step of the president last weekend. Good move, as he got world leaders, as he needs to reallocate oil from countries that produce it or have it stored to give it to countries that are in need. There's a lot of charts out there that show how many days you can survive as a country without any oil being imported. Italy has very few days. And so those countries that can step in and help, Japan, India, South Korea, they have extra oil that they make that they can reallocate. Venezuela is the number one producer of oil. So they could, for everything that we've always helped Venezuela, should be getting these countries in need, like Italy, oil right away. So we deal with Vladimir Putin appropriately and get those countries off the dependency of Putin's oil. Back in the United States, we have another solution. We don't need to have Venezuela give us oil. We can make more oil, pump more oil. And where does it come? West Texas. So why not make more oil? I covered this last night before the State of the Union address, and I said what I expected to hear, but I was really surprised what Joe Biden did, and I was very, very grateful he said it. I told you going into last night's Evenings LA broadcast that there's a very big dissection between the Democrats, progressive and moderates, on how to deal with this oil crisis. The progressives want to say to you, go buy an electric car. We need to stop making so much oil. We need to stop oil so energy dependent. And the moderate Democrats are saying, well, yeah, but we also can't destabilize our economy. We can't have runaway oil prices. We can't be dependent upon Russian and other exporters of oil. It's a very, very delicate subject. And I said, we need to make more oil. Last night on Evenings LA, I said, we need to produce more oil in West Texas right now. We're not going to be doing this indefinitely. We just need to bring our price of gasoline down to $100 a barrel or 94. And then we assess the situation with Vladimir Putin 6 months from now, if he's still alive. We adjust the situation 6 months from now. We need to get the price of gasoline down. We just pump oil. What is so complicated about the situation? We're not going to ruin the environment in 6 months producing more oil for a few months because of a time of global strife and acts of oppression. Guess what the president said? I'm not against producing more oil. Oh my goodness. Joe, thank goodness. I don't know who locked the doors on those progressives last night. But can you remember the code to lock it when you do it next time again? Because it worked. Someone got to the president and said, hey, just produce the damn oil out of West Texas. Come on already. Stabilize the oil prices in the United States. Now, he didn't say he's going to do it, but he said, I'm not against it. So this is a big move, folks. And this is huge because we have to stabilize our economy. And then we got to get the other countries to stabilize their oil imports. And this is also his job, and NATO and UN, to get these other countries to get countries like Italy oil from somewhere else as we deal with the acts of oppression from Vladimir Putin across the board. I'll be going more back to those acts of oppressions and the latest details on the battle grunt in Ukraine in just a second, but trying to get you some money. I know West Texas. I just thought some big hats, big boots, and some money. So let's get some money. If you're new to this channel, what I do is I get people money. I get people lots of money. We cash checks and we cash them on a daily basis. And many times I'm shocked by how well my viewers do it. And my job since day one of this channel is to get people to cash checks and get as many checks as they can cash. And yet I'm always left speechless by the success stories of my own viewers. One of them overnight that I got surprised by, speechless again, was Nisi. How many times have I featured Nisi? Almost every video for a year and a half. She had gotten $30,000 plus from money from this channel last year. Then I featured the subject matter every single day this year as well. I said, get another pot of money. She got another pot of money. It's featured in the last few days, $10,000. Guess what? She got another wad of cash overnight. And this is one of many success stories. What are we doing here? Are there checks going out from Joe Biden? Yeah. My viewers got checks today. My viewers got checks yesterday. Did you get checks? You didn't? Well, welcome to LA. And in this recording, we're now going to go over how you get checks right today. We don't care what the checks are, so long as there's a lot of zeros behind them, so long as they're fast, not 5 weeks from now, not 5 months from now. And we're going over them right now. You get them, you qualify for them. So get your pen and paper ready. If you remember this channel, open the membership newsletter. And we're going to go over all those incredible checks. What are they? They are cash, big cash checks, tens of thousands of dollars for rent, utilities, mortgages, this is more. And it's been available since early 2021. In 2020, I knew about this money before third stimulus became law. And I taught viewers how to get the money on this channel. I had already gotten viewers $25 million of EIDL loans and grants. I knew how to get people money. But people needed more money. So I found this money before third stimulus became law. When third stimulus became law, I said, here it is again, but now it's law and there's a lot of it. I did not know that the money was going to last so long. And there's a lot of it. So what is the money? pull out that pen and paper, and let's go over how to get that money starting right now. You're going to reach out to the following 6 places to get these thousands of dollars. You're going to reach out to your city hall, your city house authority, your county hall, and your county house authority. And the keywords you're going to say are rent assistance because of COVID, mortgage or utility assistance because of COVID. The 3 musts you must do. You must reach out to all 6 places. You must give multiple applications to file, and you must do multiple rounds. Remember that you should open that membership newsletter for more details and rely upon those nonprofits because those nonprofits really do great things across the board. Now, the success stories just absolutely keep on coming in. Nisi overnight says, hey, I got $1,900 more paid for my light bill. This just keeps on growing and growing. That's a quote. Nisi got $30,000 last year from this channel for this, $10,000 last week, and another $1,900 overnight. Incredible. Capital, thank you so much. All capital, she writes, for your continued support for all of us. I'll keep you in my prayers for good health and wealth. You should run for president. I don't think I can. I watched that State of the Union address last night, and I really just did not like those people. I don't like the Republicans. I don't like the Democrats. And you can see it later in this commentary in the refugee section. I don't think they're doing enough. And I would go up to their face and I'd say, I don't think you're doing anything but smirking during the State of the Union address. I just don't like those people. I don't think I could work with them. But more about that later. Here's Bill Garasiti overnight. This was yesterday. He says, hey, I got rent paid for 1 year. 1 year? Excuse me? 1 year? That is insane. That is incredible. When we're talking about these rounds, we're usually talking about 3 to 5 months of rent. And here is Bill getting 12 months of rent. Now, the way we're talking about these rounds is when it became law in January of 2021, viewers got 3 to 5 months. Then they got another round last summer, then another round in December. And we started covering again in January this year. I said, get another round. But some people are really shocking the shoes off of me this week because they're getting these enormous pots of money right now. If you have a success story, send me a private message, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram, and tell me which round. Have you gotten money before for this? Which one is it? It doesn't matter if it's $1 or $1,000. Here's Charles Garman. Hey, Ally, I got $1,000 for energy assistance. I love it. Here's Karen Phillips. Karen Phillips' story resonates so well. She says she got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities. Great. Exactly in the scope what we're talking about, 3 to 5. But what's the backstory on it? She says, I lost all my jobs. I didn't know how I was going to pay my utilities or rent. But I watched your show, I understood, and I contacted my organizations, as you said to do, and I got 3 months of rent and 3 months of utilities because I watched you, Ally. You're so amazing. It's money. As long as it has lots of zeros behind it and you get it right now, get it. Get it quickly. And then the success stories just seem to shock me by the moment. The day before that, we had Brian Donahue. Hey, Ally, I just got a second round of 5 more months. Excuse me? Second round of 5 more months. So what was the first round? 5 months? That's 10 months. You got 10 months. Wait a second. How many months of rent are you getting for the show? These are huge success stories, folks. The average rent that viewers are getting are like $1,200, $1,500. So these are massive sums of money. I have many viewers I've featured a lot on this channel gotten $100,000, $120,000, $150,000 from third stimulus. If you're new to this channel, this is why this channel has succeeded. This is why the Purple Power community, the family of this channel, has succeeded. They have listened, they have learned. I learned on day 1 of the first recordings outside in the spring air in April 2020 that the viewership of this channel wants to learn, wants to get money, wants to be financially independent, and wants information. And these are people who absolutely shock me every single time with their success stories because they come back with another success story on top of this. This was Nisi last weekend. She said, I got $7,000 more for rent and $3,000 more for utilities. That's before today's update. And that same day was Karen Joseph. She got $40,000 that day, which included $22,000 for rent. I mean, $22,000 for rent, folks. That is not 3 months. That's a lot of months across the board. So get those incredible sums of money. I want you to do it right today. Rely on those nonprofits because they really help. They also help with some nominal home repairs. They're all in the membership newsletter. If you're not a member, go into the link of the video. Tell people to come on over and watch this show. Average view of this channel is getting $45,000. This is the #1 most watched primetime financial news channel, primetime watched financial news show right now because of what we're doing, and you see the impact across the land. Tonight is a very fluid situation. As I stand here for Ukraine, this is my heart with blue on the top and yellow below. And unfortunately tonight, it's very hard in reporting some of these stories because it's just emotionally difficult sometimes. And it's emotionally difficult because I'm getting to, obviously, the Ukrainian part of this recording, where I'm about to show you the situation on the ground. Clearly, I do not show you images of war and destruction on this channel, but I also show you the beauty of Ukraine. And it's very hard to show you Kherson. I have never seen Kherson before tonight's recording. To prepare for the recording, I got footage from my database from Kherson, if I'm pronouncing it right. And I just look at it and I think, what a gorgeous town. What a gorgeous town. It looks like a town where my grandparents are from. It's just a gorgeous town. It may look like a town that you live in. And as I show you this footage, it's hard to show you this footage because this is likely not what Kherson looks like tonight. And it's just heart-wrenching to show you this, but I have to. This is how beautiful Kherson looks like in stock footage. Where is Kherson and what is Kherson? Kherson is a beautiful port city in the Black Sea. Everyone knows the Black Sea is stunning. And Kherson is in that beautiful port city. Why is it hard to show this footage? Because it is so beautiful. It is such a beautiful town. And tonight, we really don't know what the situation is. We don't know because Russia has claimed its forces have now taken this town. Russia has now claimed that it has taken this town. And some Western news outlets believe that Russia is accurate on this. Ukraine says it is not. It's a very fluid situation. But whether it has or hasn't, the situation is that this town, so beautiful in this imagery right now, doesn't particularly look like that right at the moment. It is a war-battled town. Here is a beautiful footage of just Ukraine in general. This is how gorgeous Ukraine is as a country. It is just an absolute gorgeous country. And it's very hard to show you this footage of this beautiful country, Ukraine, tonight, because guess what? As we look at this gorgeous country of Ukraine, the Ukrainian officials do confirm tonight 2,000 Ukrainian citizens have died because of acts of aggressions by Vladimir Putin. This is a confirmed number from Ukrainian officials. This is as the refugee situation is getting worse. How many refugees are there right now? You're looking at beautiful flags of the country of Poland. Poland and Ukraine and Poland and Romania have now confirmed they have received 870,000 refugees to date. Last night, it was at 500,000. Tonight, it's 870. Remember that some of these towns on the border of Poland have millions and millions of citizens. These are major metropolises. These are major cities, bigger than some U.S. cities. And these millions and millions of citizens, residents, are getting on trains fleeing to Poland and Romania. It's at 870,000 tonight. This is why it was very difficult for me to watch the State of the Union address last night. Here's my commentary in tonight's video. It was very difficult to me to watch it because you got these senators and those House members up there with this sort of smirk on their face that get paid big dollars for these positions. Sometimes they're in position for 10, 15 years. And some of them have jets at home. Some of them are very, very wealthy individuals. And they have the tools. They have the tools to send aid, blankets, tent, portable equipment, reservist servicemen to Romania and Poland to help fleeing pregnant women and their children and babies at the border. And they're sitting in a State of the Union address with a smug look on their face, both Republican and Democrat. And you think to yourself, and viewers will say, LH, you should run for president. I don't think I could ever do it. I don't think I could be even in the room with them. I would literally go up to their face and say, what are you doing? What are you doing? You have the tools. You're Congress. You have the ability to do these items. Are you so apathetic? Situation unfolding by the moment. And as we stand with Ukraine, the situation tonight is very fluid across the board. I want to tell you the bad news and how it could actually get worse. The situation tonight is we do not know if airstrikes will start to begin against these towns. Airstrikes are where they send in something more than just a tank. And that situation is very fluid. Russian Defense Ministry warned on Tuesday that the airstrikes would start. They have not started generally. That's number one. Number two, that envoy of tank and trucks, the Russian envoy, stalled outside of town. Don't think too much of it because it's not going to stay there indefinitely. The question is when the ground-to-ground combat starts in these towns, which apparently has now started in Kherson, then we're going to start to see the situation really get bad. Russia's likely never to take Ukraine. Russia is likely never to take any city in Ukraine. Russia is likely never to hold a city in Ukraine. But the situation is very difficult. It's very difficult to report on. And some U.S. companies have done right, and more companies, U.S. companies, need to do right as well. Exxon exited Russia today, leaving $4 billion in assets literally on the table and walked out the door. I'm really happy to hear something like that. There's a whole lot of stories about Russian oligarchs out there. I'm not covering on this channel. You can read them as well. I'm very happy with what Joe Biden's doing with those Russian oligarchs across the land. There's a lot of other stories that need to be covered across the land when we deal with the situation on the ground. As a financial news channel, my job is to give you all the data and how it impacts your wallet at home. It's a very fluid situation as Vladimir Putin's acts of aggressions are unfolding by the minute, by the hour. Thank you for staying with me for this 1 hour broadcast of breaking financial news as it impacts your wallet from world events and back at home. Our prayers are tonight with those beautiful, beautiful communities along the Black Sea and, of course, the community of Kherson. The situation is very fluid. Keep them in your prayers tonight and keep all the people of Ukraine in your prayers tonight. We are all one family, and we will work better and we will do better as Evenings Ally continues.